I felt as if my arms came out of my physical arms and they magnetically came together like a magnet. And then I pulled up and out of my body from the chest. What's up, everybody? It's that time again that I share pieces of me with you. I'm out in nature. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Or shall I say, it's a wonderful day in the neighborhood. Which is it? That Mandela effect really is in full effect, if you catch my drift. But anyway, I want to talk about two things in this particular installment. I want to share with you a lucid dream that I had last week. It was very powerful, very symbolic, and very true to life, and the revelation that I had gotten from this lucid dream. And then I want to talk about cats. Cats as gatekeepers, and my personal profound astral projection experience that confirmed beyond a shadow of a doubt, to me anyway, that cats are absolutely gatekeepers, and they hold portals and gateways open between this realm and other realms. Not to say they're the only ones, but they are definitely gatekeepers. All right, so let me get a little comfortable because this one might be a little while. All right, first, my lucid dream. In this lucid dream, I found myself sitting on a heap of gadgets and trinkets and things, right? And I found this gold and brass box. It was about this big, this tall, and this wide. And on this gold and brass box, there were 3 keyholes in the circumference or shape of a pyramid. I had 3 keys in my hand. These were 3 different keys because these 3 locks on this brass golden box were 3 different key locks. So as I took one of the keys and I unlocked one door or one locket. Then I took the 3rd key and I unlocked the 3rd. Just when I was about to unlock, no, let me go back. I had all 3 keys. All 3 keys match the 3 different lock holes to open the first layer of this metal, gold, and brass box. Did I say metal, gold? No, it was gold and brass. Gold and brass. Just imagine brass and gold intertwined together. That's what this box was. So the 3 different keys represented 3 series of tests, experiences, trials and tribulations. I remember thinking as I was unlocking each key or each locket that each of those keys represented they represented what was earned through experience, trials and tribulations, and so on, and mastery. And when I unlocked the 3rd lock, I saw this wizard-looking man. He looked very similar to this. This man looked very beat down and haggard. He was very wrinkly, stressed out looking in the face, and he was moving really, really slowly. And I saw him come from around this giant oak tree because this trinket this pile of trinkets that I was on was outside. It was in a nature-like scene, and there was a big oak tree that this man came from behind, and he was moving very slowly, almost as if he was in pain or it was like he had an injury or something. and I opened the back lock. When I opened this, using all 3 keys, opened the back lock, there were these other silver, they were kind of like pins, but they had like a handle on them. They were really small, and I remember I was turning these pins to unlock the next layer of this what's the word I should, this very precious and valuable doorway. That's what I saw this thing being symbolic of. And again, as I lift the lid off that opened with the 3 keys that I had, this man began to come around the corner. He said, no, don't open that. And he looked so distressed and bothered. And I remember feeling and thinking, no, you're not going to stop me from doing this. And just when I was about to open that second layer to this this golden brass box, I woke up. Now, when I woke up, this is what instantly hit me. Again, I've already broken down what I was intuitively picking up with the 3 different keys that matched the 3 different locks to unlock the first layer of this golden brass box. When I woke up, I immediately got Holy Trinity. But here, check it out. 3 lockets. There were 3 layer chambers to this gold. I don't know why I want to say black, but this this gold and brass box. Because again, as I was about to open the second layer, that 3rd layer was the revelation. So when I woke up, I thought of Holy Trinity, but instead of holy being spelled Holy, I thought, or it came to me, holy, Wholey. Get it? Holy, Holy, has the implication of something having holes in it. Within the definition and breakdown in the etymology of the word from a human language perspective. But whole, meaning complete, Wholey, I'm throwing the Y on there, that means full circle, complete. And here is where the connection with the pyramids, why a lot of us who are very spiritual and connected, we are drawn to pyramids, because that is symbolically and geometrically reminding us of the Holy Trinity, and that is mind, body, and soul. Mind, body, and soul. Now, I've heard people say that the Holy Trinity is man, woman, and child, and that's one perspective, one way of looking at it. But how does that definition applies to beings who may not be a man in our understanding? What about animals? What about other life forms? So a more all-encompassing, universal perspective of the holy, complete, the Holy Trinity would be body, mind, and soul. And so here is the whole meaning of the dream. When we master all 3 levels, we get the keys, the rightful keys, and we become whole with mind, body, and soul. And this is where we become a whole and complete being, when we have mastered or have tapped into all 3 levels. Most of us walking on earth right now may have mastered 1 or 2. Very few have mastered all 3 and have become whole, and therefore able to master this realm, navigate and stand strongly in this realm, the non-physical realm, and to master the mind. All 3 is what makes a whole being. You get it? This portion of this video is brought to you by Feline Forever. History and mythology. Over thousands of years, the cat has evolved and adapted to become one of the most popular pets and one of the most fascinating companions. It could easily be argued that the cat domesticated humans rather than the other way around. History of the cat. The domestic cat has had a profound effect on human societies across the globe and have made a valuable contribution to the lives of many people through the ages. Their influence stretches back to the earliest human societies and have been both worshipped and reviled. But the cat has always been an important part of human culture. Mythology of the cat. Since the dawn of human culture, the cat has been the source of many myths and legends. In many, the cat is associated with the gods and accorded great respect, while in others, the cat has been associated with devils and demons. One of the most powerful, most profound experience that I've ever had in my life, be it here or beyond the veil. There was more going on in that experience than the cat or me witnessing firsthand that cats are absolutely gatekeepers. But I'm going to try to keep it, the story and how much I share with you within the context of cats and the feline family and feline people. Yes, there are feline people, humanoids who look like cats. But let me not jump too far ahead. This experience that I'm about to share with you happened 2010. I was going to put this in my book, and I am still going to put it in my book. There are certain details in it that I'm not going to share with you that I will put in my book ultimately. But I feel like it's time because I'm getting all these synchronicities with cats and people asking me to talk about cats as gatekeepers and so on and so forth. And some of you will probably more than likely relate to the story that I'm about to share with you. This experience happened about 9 years ago. I had awakened to a very powerful magnetic energy. It was very prickly. Now, usually when I'm waking up to this this sensation or this feeling, it's coming from within. What was different about this was that the magnetic prickly effect was happening on the external. Now, I was experiencing paralysis as this was going on. Now, mind you, I was not asleep. I was coming out or awake from a sleep. So I'm lying there, I'm lying on my back, and the room is dark. So this was happening at nighttime, but you know, I would always have my windows open where the night light, meaning the street lights or whatever, would shine through the window even though it's dark, so I could still see in my room to some degree. So in other words, it's not pitch black in the room, but this did happen at night. The exact time I cannot tell you because I did not check it. So I awakened to this powerful magnetic prickly sensation all around me. Now immediately I'm aware that there are beings in my presence. I was not afraid, I was not alarmed. Interestingly enough, it was almost as if I subconsciously knew that was going to happen, but don't know how I know or how I knew. And it felt like family. It felt like family members were loving, doting family members were in the room. That's what it felt, and that's what I sensed. So that's why there was absolutely no fear. And it was also very, very familiar, the feeling that I was experiencing at that point. So again, I'm lying on my back, my hands to my side. I can open my eyes, even though I'm paralyzed, I can open my eyes. So I opened my eyes and I could see a magnetic wave all in my room. But I can also sense where the beings were. So what I intuitively did was I remember I tilt my head slightly to the left side and like kind of start peering through my eyelids. I didn't open my eyes all the way up, and that where I saw the first one, larger than life. He was so big that he would squat down. He would squat down, kind of like stooped over, leaning over me. So in other words, if he were to stand up, he would go right through the roof. And he was hovering and looking over me like a doting mother type kind of thing. And then again, felt very familiar. I was not afraid. I could see the being, but he was not in full physical viewpoint. In other words, I could see them, but their density was to a point where I could see through them, but it was enough to see them there. And I've talked about these beings in the past. As a matter of fact, if you guys remember, it was probably my fourth video that I'd ever done, third or fourth video that I'd ever done on YouTube about the Televashikras. And I talk about this being, and there were these two metallic black beings on both sides with large heads. These beings look like those beings, but grown up. They looked just like this, but they were pitch metallic black, and they had a bright golden aura around them. Now I'm lying there peering through my right eye, looking at the one on this side, and he was again hovering over me. And then I closed this eyelid because I felt a presence on this side. There was another one, same size, exact same proportion, make and form, who was on this side. Now this one was the one that ultimately escorted me. There could have been others in the room. I was only consciously aware of one here and this one here, which this one on my left side was the one, again, that ended up escorting me. The one on this side is the one that stayed behind and naturally to protect and watch over my body, while a core essence or a core part of me is being escorted to another place, another world. The next step was, and I've experienced this before, many times before, where I felt as if my arms came out of my physical arms and they magnetically came together like a magnet. And then I pulled up and out of my body from the chest. The pressure was pulling from the chest, again, like a magnet. It was almost as if the being to my left put his hands without touching me, and his hand became like a magnet. So when both my hands came together like this, I could feel this being's hand like just above, larger than life hands, and like a magnet helped to pull me up and out. Next thing I know, everything went pitch black, and we are both flying at lightning speed downward, really, really, really fast. I could feel the wind blowing all around me. Now, we're moving, I can't see anything. Everything is pitch black. We're soaring at lightning speed downward, taking these sharp angles and turns and what have you. And then next thing I know, we come up on a big gray cat. Alright, now I'm going to intercept this original taping to cite some very interesting observations that I neglected to mention in the original recording. The first thing that I noticed upon coming up on this cat was the size. This cat appeared to be larger than my head. Now I'm not sure if this is what happens when a cat travels interdimensionally. They may expand in their form, or could it have been that it was our size that shifted and shrunk as we traveled down the dimensions? The other thing is that this image that you see here looks more like a kitten. This is the closest picture that I could find in terms of the eye color of the cat and the texture and the color of the fur. But the cat that we saw was definitely an adult cat, and I also sensed that it was female. That was coming across very strongly. And I also felt that there was no way we were going to pass this cat without there being some kind of permission given. In other words, I felt like this cat had some kind of mystical ability that it could wield had we tried to get past it without the proper protocol or permission. Alright, so now let's get back to the original video. When we came up on the cat immediately crouched down in like a defensive preparation type stance. Now this cat had had like an luminous blue hue to it, very similar to this. In the doorway, I remember it had bright white light illuminating from it. The cat did not look at me. The cat looked over, was looking at the top of my head, which is where, of course, the being who was escorting me. And I'm looking at the cat. Now, intuitively, I know that the cat and the being that escorted me, they were communicating telepathically. When the cat looked above my head and made the telepathic connection with the being that I was with, I saw the cat relax, and then next thing I know, we moved through. The cat density change. It's like we literally flew through the cat, and right away I can see we're entering into this world from an aerial perspective, and right down there on the ground were three very prehistoric looking crocodiles like I've never seen anywhere in this physical life. Alright, a quick sidebar. Although this portion of the video is mainly about cats, I would be remiss if I were not to mention an interesting fact about these alligator crocodile type creatures. They too were literally black. That really stood out to me. And the dry land that they were on had the skeletal remains of other creatures that looked like them. They were buried underneath the dry land, but they weren't completely covered up. It was enough where I can see bones in the ground around these creatures. It's a very interesting observation. We went through that portal, that doorway. I lost complete consciousness. I had absolutely no memory of what happened beyond that point. My next memory was waking up the next morning feeling very assured, very refreshed, and very confident. So again, these beings who I've since had other experiences with, and even family members, my youngest nephew, when he was about 4, he saw them and described them identically. Now, even though I had no memory of what happened beyond that point, let me tell you what's really interesting. And herein lies another revelation. So not long after that, I started having dreams, very vivid dreams of interacting with these very beautiful, not just beautiful, but very beautiful, harmonic, feline-like beings. That's where I started having dreams of seeing dragons, dreams of seeing dragons, beautiful dragons that, again, in the dream, I know who they are, but of course, from my dumbed-down human perspective, I can't tell you who these beings are. Now, what I realize is that when we travel beyond the veil and we go too far out, once we go into these other worlds, we're not going to remember or experience what has happened in real time. Again, there's no such thing as time, but because of the wiring and the way the human brain and the human mind is conditioned in this matrix, it's very, very, very limited in how much it can process at a second, minute, or hour, or whatever the case may be. However, there are those of us who have expanded our human level consciousness to a point where we can download memories from, let's say, a timeline where the information field may be far more vast, and we can download or access information at, let's say, if I experience something in another world where the information field may be 10 times bigger than what my level of consciousness is from this perspective, it may take me another 3 years if I'm continuously developing on expanding my consciousness to create a bandwidth large enough to access the memories from that experience. So when we have our dreams, when we're seeing otherworldly beings, many times those are memories that are coming from the subconscious mind to the conscious mind, because this again will take quite a bit of time for the human mind to expand, to retain or access or hold the memory of these very expanded, far more fluid type experiences and realities. And again, I have since interacted and had memories with interacting with these very beautiful feline people. I don't even know if I can draw these for this particular group. There were 3 of them. There's something about 3. There were 3 lion beings. They were very beautiful. I remember one of them had like eyes that looked like reminded me of a rainbow, like the socket of our eyes are spherical, but this particular being, their eyes didn't have any definitive marks. It was like a waterfall of beautiful color, beautiful color that didn't have any definition, and their face was just so beautifully constructed, and the symmetry was just beautiful. As an artist, I naturally have an eye for symmetry. I don't necessarily get caught up in something that doesn't look like, if something doesn't look like what I'm used to seeing, it's automatically seen as ugly. I can look at anything in any combination, and if the symmetry is harmonic and they're complementing one another and the color is beautiful, I'm going to see beauty in that no matter what. This is another lesson that many of us down here, we have to learn, because again, how in the world are most of us going to have experiences like I'm describing and appreciate that experience when you can't even appreciate the diverse beauty within the human species? And so many people think, people such as myself, we're crazy because we talk about having these otherworldly experiences. No, we're not crazy. We're allowed to experience and have these encounters because we are ready. We have done the work. We're not as judgmental. We're not going to automatically attack and vilify and demonize, which humans love doing, demonizing anything that doesn't fit into our program or our narrative. But those of us who crash those scripts and who crash those programs and expand our consciousness and reject labels and so on and so forth, we expand our consciousness by default. And when those beings see that, they know we're ready, and that's when we begin to start experiencing a whole nother level of reality. So, having said that, that's the gist of what I wanted to share. As always, you are so loved beyond measure. Continue to question, learn, and grow, and happy travels, y'all.